Coverage you can count on. This is WAAY 31 News at 6.
We are continuing to monitor the threat for very strong wind gusts, maybe a couple stronger thunderstorms as well. I'll have an update on our 31 alert day through this evening coming up in your forecast.
Plus, President Donald Trump will deliver his first address to Congress since retaking the White House. We'll discuss what he's expected to talk about. We are bringing you team coverage now as we come on the air at 6 o'clock for this 31 alert day. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Tori Dunnan. We've got everything that you need to know to protect your loved ones and your property as the storms move in tonight. We start, though, by getting the latest look at 31 triple Doppler with Chief Meteorologist Jeff Castle. And Jeff, what are we expecting now?
We're still expecting a lot of wind. We've had that. That is pretty much a given. The question is, are we going to get some stronger thunderstorms that could bring locally even stronger wind gusts than what we've already seen? And that does remain a possibility as we head through the evening hours. Although widespread severe weather and tornado potential, the threat for that appears to have decreased just a little bit. These are some of the latest wind gusts, anywhere from 30, 40 miles per hour. At times, we've gotten some reports of some 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and that will continue to be a widespread issue through the evening hours. There is rain that is moving on in right now. Nothing, though, that is severe, but rain has picked up here along the I-65 corridor, moving through Huntsville right now, extending back towards Moulton. Then there's a little break out here towards the Shoals, but there's more active weather that we are monitoring. Back in Mississippi, narrow line of heavier downpours is developing here from near Tupelo and points southward. This will be tracking into the Shoals in northwest Alabama, and it's within this skinny little line. If we see even locally higher winds, that is where they will come from. So for a lot of us, 40, 50 mile per hour winds, but potentially this line as it moves through could produce some wind gusts, maybe up to 70 miles per hour. And we're going to track that out in more detail coming up in your forecast in just a few minutes. It is still mild at this hour. Temperatures running in the 60s after hitting the low 70s earlier. Guntersville still kind of waiting on the rainfall here, but it won't be long before it's coming down. This is our Thompson Roofing and Construction Skycam over in that part of Marshall County. We'll continue to see rain and storms mostly through the evening hours. By midnight tonight, should be over and done with across the area. The breeze will start to come down a little bit temporarily, but expecting another windy day tomorrow. Temperatures will settle back through the 50s as we head through the overnight hours, and then likely really won't warm up at all through the day on your Wednesday. I'll be back in a few moments. Again, we'll have the latest hour-by-hour details on rain, storm chances, and just plain old wind out there this evening coming up in your forecast.
Well, thanks, Jeff. As Jeff just told us, the line of storms will push its way into the Shoals first, and that's where WAAY 31's Jim Abbott is on his way to, and the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker powered by Lynn Layton Chevrolet. And Jim, how are things looking so far?
Tori, things are looking pretty good right now. I confirm exactly what Jeff was saying. About the last hour or so, there was some pretty steady rain here as we were coming through Moulton and up through Tuscumbia and Muscle Shoals. We're actually back now driving through Muscle Shoals. A lot of that rain has kind of pushed out of here. And looking at the radar that Jeff was just showing, it kind of looks like we're right in the middle of some of the heavier rain that we got and the heavier rain that's coming over from Mississippi that we're going to see in the next little while. Those wind gusts that he was talking about, the sustained winds have picked up a little bit. In fact, here, let me show you as we're driving down the road here. Don't know if you can see it at some of the intersections here, but we did find some where the overhead traffic lights aren't quite as anchored, you know, to some of those beams as some other intersections where they're swaying a little bit. In fact, some of the green road signs above it are also swaying a little bit. And then standing outside, you do get some gusts and feel a little bit of a cool burst of air there. But nothing crazy right now, not seeing a whole lot of that. And the roads are certainly fine, and the rain has backed off quite a bit. But if you are going out, just be aware, you know, as Jeff said, that you're going to get some of those winds that pick up a little bit. Bracing to see exactly how those storms are going to be coming in from Mississippi. And, of course, we will be out here all night letting you know how the roads are. And hopefully things go as well as we hope as those storms move through. But for right now, we are live in the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker in Muscle Shoals with coverage you can count on. Jim Abbott, WAAY 31 News.
Well, those high winds can be an especially dangerous situation for truck drivers. The ESD Truck School's lead instructor, Adam White, says any wind speeds over 40 miles per hour can send a semi-truck off the road. He says all drivers should check their mirrors every 6 to 8 seconds, especially during severe weather. He also says looking forward as much as possible can help catch those accidents before it's too late.
If you're going 60 miles an hour, somebody pulls out in front of you, you're not going to be able to stop the truck. I mean, if it's getting real bad, just don't drive. I mean, that's pretty much not much more to it.
White went on to say if it's windy and you do see a truck swaying, don't try to pass it. Instead, wait and pass when it is safe. Well, with those wind speeds possibly reaching up to 70 miles per hour into the overnight hours, we're learning more about how you can protect your home from any potential damage. WAAY 31 reporter Julia Miller now joining us live after speaking to a Huntsville home inspector. And Julia, is it too late to start preparing now?
Tori, hopefully not. The home inspector that I spoke to today, though, says it's better to be prepared than not to be. Over the next couple of hours, as the wind picks up, he recommends decluttering your yard. That means cleaning up tools, toys, and any large objects outside that could become dangerous if picked up by the wind. And he also suggests boarding up windows and doors, especially in weaker areas around the house. Garage doors are another concern during strong winds.
Take a look at the garage doors. We want to make sure that during high winds there is horizontal bracing there. And then in the attic, we want to make sure that there are hurricane straps or ties up in the framing area.
If you're concerned about your roof, he suggests tarping it ahead of time if you can, and if it's safe to do so now. Now see just how easy it is for me to pick up this table out here. So imagine it getting picked up by 70-per-hour-mile winds and flying. So the bottom line here is make sure that before you go to bed tonight, everything outside is secure. Reporting live in Huntsville with coverage you can count on, Julia Miller, WAAY 31 News.
Well, during times of severe weather, it is crucial to make sure you have multiple ways to receive important weather notifications. With the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker weather app, you can turn on personalized notifications based on your location to get the latest watches and warnings for your area, and also be alerted when lightning and heavy rain are there as well. It's completely free for all of your devices. All new at 6, a close call at a recycling center in Madison County. The general manager of the Dixie Pulp and Paper Recycling Center says a hot bale of recycled material as well as strong winds are to blame for a fire this afternoon. Thankfully, though, we're told no one was injured. GOP leaders now urging local representatives to make town halls virtual. The reason behind the push, up next.
And I'll have another update on rain, storms, and wind as we head through this 31 alert day this evening, all coming up in your WAAY 31 Storm Tracker forecast.
Coverage you can count on. This is WAAY 31 News at 6 with Tori Dunnan, Chief Meteorologist Jeff Castle, and Sports with Max Cohen.
It is a big night in our nation's capital. President Donald Trump is getting ready to address Congress during a primetime speech. I spoke with Avery Harper, the deputy political director for ABC News. She says he'll hit on key items in his agenda.
So we are told by folks in his orbit that the theme for tonight's address is the renewal of the American dream. We are told that he is going to speak about his record so far, things like the economy, border security, and what those around him are calling America's role in brokering peace around the globe.
We're told that Democrats do plan to issue a response following this speech. Well, the leader of the House GOP campaign arm is urging Republican lawmakers to stop holding in-person town halls. He says they should hold virtual meetings instead. In recent weeks, several Republican lawmakers have faced crowds challenging the orders and policy shifts by the Trump administration. However, closer to home, there is now currently a petition for Alabama Representative and North Alabama native Dale Strong to hold an in-person town hall. The petition is now on change.org, where several concerned constituents have posted about the impact that the Department of Government Efficiency is having on the federal workforce. At last check, the petition has more than 1,100 verified signatures.
Now, WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Jeff Castle with 31 Triple Doppler.
Oh, good evening, everyone. Kind of a 1-2 punch continuing here across the Tennessee Valley this evening on this 31 alert day. We've had strong wind all day long. The last few hours, some of those winds have been gusting above 50 miles per hour, and that will continue to be the case as we head through the next several hours before we see those wind gusts come down a little bit closer to the midnight hour, although it is going to stay quite breezy overnight tonight on into tomorrow morning. The other part of the equation, are we going to see some strong thunderstorms that could produce even higher wind gusts in some localized instances? And that does remain a possibility. The wind in and of itself, though, already causing some problems. Reports of trees down. We still expect that to be a medium to high impact here for the next several hours. And there have been some power outages, and I expect that will continue to be something that happens in spots. The wind in and of itself, not a major structural issue unless a tree falls onto a home or a building. Otherwise, just from the wind itself, some minor roof damage will be a possibility. And what we're going to have to watch is if we get some stronger storms that bring in some locally higher wind gusts along with them. We do have rain out there right now. Nothing is severe. No watches, no warnings are in place here across North Alabama for severe weather. But the rain does continue to come with that strong wind as well. And even outside of the wet weather, winds continue to howl in other areas. Steadier rain moving into Huntsville right now, extending down towards Coleman. And this breaks up back into parts of Lawrence and right along the Lauderdale-Limestone County line. But that's not it. We are watching another band of some heavier downpours developing back in Mississippi, and some of the computer model data had been indicating that this would happen. Right now, the extent of that line starts near Tupelo and then picks up down towards Columbus, Mississippi. But this is working its way to the east and northeast, and as this band of heavier downpours and some embedded thunder moves in, that potentially is what could bring in some of those higher wind gusts. Tracking it where it is right now into the northwest corner of the state would bring it into Russellville a little bit more than an hour or so from now, 7:38, Moulton by 8:22, and a little closer to 9 o'clock into the Decatur area. What we're going to be watching is that main band coming on in. Again, we've got the rain out ahead of it. Future radar really kind of keying in on that first band, the break in the shoals, and then watch what happens out here towards the state line within the next hour or so. That heavier band of showers coming on in across Mississippi into northwest Alabama, approaching the I-65 corridor close to 9 o'clock this evening, and then moving through Sand Mountain through the late evening hours. This is around 11 o'clock, that heaviest band from Scottsboro to Fort Payne down to Gadsden. Again, within this is where we could pick up some of the highest wind gusts of the day. This is all out of here, though, by the time we hit midnight with calmer conditions coming on in. Now, why are we watching that band? Well, because about 4,000 to 5,000 feet above our head through the evening hours, wind is going to be blowing 70, maybe up to 90 miles per hour. If that band of showers and thunder showers gets organized enough, it can pull down some of this higher wind down to the surface. So that's what we're going to be watching. Here's 8 o'clock this evening, and you can see, again, about 3/4 of a mile above our head, the winds are really, really howling. And if we're going to get some damage, that is where it would come from. Again, this is not a guarantee that it will happen, but it is something that we're going to be watching with that band back in Mississippi as it tracks into North Alabama. By the time we hit midnight tonight and the storms are on out of here, we'll also see a decrease in those mid and upper level winds as well across the area. Tomorrow, a calmer day, relatively speaking, but still very windy. Southwest to west winds, 20 miles per hour and gusting above 30 at times. And it's going to be a much colder day as well. We start in the low 50s in the morning. We may actually get chillier into tomorrow afternoon, dropping back into the upper 40s by the end of the day on your Wednesday. Here's your WAAY 31 Storm Tracker 10-day forecast. Thursday, a much calmer day. Cold morning, though, 32. We'll have a freeze, 54 in the afternoon. Friday, warmer again at 68. Then we got another little weather system and cold front that'll come through Friday night into first part of the day Saturday. Right now, not looking like a big rain producer, but there might be a couple showers on Saturday. We cool back to around the 60-degree mark over the weekend. Don't forget that time change as well as we spring forward Saturday night into Sunday morning. Otherwise, next week starts calmer. We do see a warming trend as well, back upper 60s on Monday, and then probably in the 70s for the rest of the week, maybe nearing that 80-degree mark Tuesday, Wednesday, before we track some more unsettled weather sometime towards the end of next week, perhaps. But keeping an eye on things this evening, Tori, you do want to stay weather aware. If any weather alerts come out, you can get those on the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker weather app. And myself and meteorologist Amber Kulik are here. We will be watching what comes through and what it brings, either high wind-wise or otherwise, but the overall severe weather potential a little bit lower here in North Alabama than it is well to our south.
You know, while you're watching it closely, the thing is, it does seem like it's fast moving.
It is. That's a good thing. If there's a positive, it will come and go pretty quickly. And by the time 11, 12 o'clock tonight, should be back to calmer conditions. You'll be able to go to bed. You won't be kept up all night.
All right, we'll be watching it.
Yep.
Max?
The final week of college basketball's regular season is upon us. Hear the message from Bruce Pearl and Nate Oates next in sports.
WAAY 31 Sports is brought to you by Current Electrical. Now from the Current Electrical Sports Center, WAAY 31 Sports with Max Cohan.
The final week of college basketball's regular season is upon us, and the Auburn Tigers are still the #1 team in the nation. With a 27-2 record and an unreal 15-1 mark in conference play, Auburn has proved to be the best team in the best conference this season. But even with a 3-game lead in the SEC with 2 games left to play, Bruce Pearl has no interest in taking his foot off the gas. The Tigers were able to cross a lot of things off their checklist with Saturday's win over Kentucky, the biggest being the SEC regular season title. Now, just 2 games remain before the conference tournament, a meeting with Texas A&M tonight and the season finale against Alabama on Saturday. But with the conference title already locked up, Coach Pearl was asked if this final week could be a time to try some new things. The answer was an emphatic no, as he made it clear Auburn still has a lot left to accomplish.
To go undefeated on the road would really be something in the SEC, and especially in this particular year. So, again, 1 win away from our most SEC wins in our history, the most wins overall. There's a lot of things that are available.
Down in Tuscaloosa, the Tide wrap up the regular season with games against Florida tomorrow and Auburn on Saturday. And after losing to Tennessee at the buzzer over the weekend, the Tide are tied for second place in the conference with the 5th-ranked Gators. And while Nate Oates took the blame for that heartbreaker, he's hoping it can serve as a lesson that his guys use the rest of the way.
Seconds from closing it, and if those 30 seconds spur the coaching staff, the players on to being a much better situational basketball team in the game, into half. We did mess up the end of half too. Deal. So if that game spurs us on to be the best team at those situations, and that spurs us on to win some games in the NCAA tournament, may have been the best thing to happen to us.
Out in the Shoals, Monday night was a big one as the North Alabama Lions dominated Austin Peay to advance to the ASUN semifinals. While today a trio of Lions were recognized with ASUN honors. Huntsville native Jakari Lane was named first-team All-ASUN, making it the second time he's made the list. He was the runner-up for Player of the Year. His high school teammate Tay Fields was named second-team All-ASUN and also earned ASUN Newcomer of the Year. And last but not least, Daniel Ortiz was named third-team All-ASUN, giving the senior his second All-Conference honor in purple and white. Tony Pujol finished as the runner-up for ASUN Coach of the Year behind former UAH head coach Lenny Acuff. Over at Spraggins Hall, it's a busy Super Tuesday with both the UAH men and women hosting GSC tournament games tonight for the first time since 2020. Fresh off their best regular season in program history, Alan Sharp's squad welcomes the AUM Warhawks to the stable. UAH is powered by the GSC Player of the Year, Lily Wilkin. The number 2 seed in the tournament, the Chargers are in action as we speak, up 38-31 at the break, and we'll let you know how they're fare tonight at 10. And after that game wraps up, the guys will have their own quarterfinal battle against Lee. UAH boasts both the GSC Player of the Year in Tommy Murr and the GSC Coach of the Year in Mick Hedgepeth. The Chargers, now ranked 3rd in the nation, put together a regular season unlike any other in program history, losing the first game and winning every single other one. UAH enters the GSC tournament with an incredible 27-1 record. Tonight, they'll look for win number 3 against the Flames this season as they eye a trip to the conference semis for the 7th straight year, and that game is set to tip at 7:30. So if you're not already over there, I'm guessing you probably need the raincoat to watch that one.
Yes, because we're already dealing with the rain over our heads right now. It's been raining out towards the Shoals. We've got another band that's getting ready to come on in. We are watching that skinny, bright red line east of Tupelo. That'll be moving into northwest Alabama and across the rest of the area this evening. If we get some of those higher wind gusts, we're talking 60, 70 mile per hour winds, it would come with that band as it moves through over the next few hours. Otherwise, rain and wind gusts of 40 to 50 will be very common. We'll be watching the storms, keeping an eye on things. If we need to break into programming for anything incredibly dangerous moving through, obviously we will. You can track the storms on the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker weather app, and that's also a way to get any weather alerts, if any are issued. Right now, though, no watches, no warnings in place, but we'll be here keeping a close eye on the radar for anything that moves in that is going to be a problem for us.
All right, so we'll continue to watch it. You're here, Amber's here. Yep. Make sure you stay safe out there and stay home if you don't have to head out there, right? Have a good evening, everyone. We'll see you back here at 10 o'clock.